Well, of course, this is one of those situations where official numbers may never come out because official numbers only come out when the promoters want to release them and they want to celebrate. But of course, in these situations, pay-per-view buys or pay-per-view numbers is always something that fans want to know. It's something that fans want to know. If you say, oh, who cares about that, then you're in the minority. You're in the short line. If there was two lines, you're in that very, very, very short line. Fans care about this type of stuff, especially when it comes to bargaining power involving, other fights. So, I'm T Street Controversy. This is T Street Controversy Live. I cover every single major fight live. So, no matter who you think won the fight, right? The number starting to float around out there is 150,000 plus or minus. So that plus or minus could be 130,000 pay-per-view buys or 180,000 or somewhere mixed in. But either way, if you look at it, let's say, for example, if everybody brought the pay-per-view in HD, which was $64.99 here in the States, that's what about 9 million or so in revenue. It is rumored, even though it wasn't, fully official yet. They kept all these numbers secret for a reason, or they tried to. The rumored number that Golovkin was supposed to make was 2.5 million, and Danny Jacobs 1.750. So basically, 1,750,000, 2,500,000 for Golovkin. We don't know how many we don't know what they were supposed to get off of pay-per-view, or if any, or if the pay-per-view had to reach a certain number before the fighters got back in. But either way, I understand how people are saying that, well, how is he making 2.5 million? And he wants to turn down 15 million or 10 million or 15 million from Golden Boy. But we've learned in the boxing landscape that when you put two names together with their marketing potential and also the fan appeal of each fight, that both of them can create colossal numbers. Now, do I personally feel that Golovkin or Canelo versus Golovkin is a 1 million pay-per-view buy fight? I really don't feel so. Now, remember all that shit they were talking about, Cotto versus Canelo, how that was going to break 2 million and all that. That shit did 900K. I understand that to us hardcores, we know who Golovkin is. I understand that we know who Canelo is, and plus Canelo has that Mexican fan base. But when you look at certain demographics, you just try to wonder, but where's their market to bring everyone in? For example, remember the Pacquiao. Biggest fight of all time that's going to be, because that brought everybody in, celebrities, people who didn't even watch boxing, just because, it brought a world together. 4.4 plus, or did it top out at 4.6. I forgot. The point I'm trying to make is Canelo versus Golovkin is a big fight, but how big of a fight is it really? And now with these pay-per-view numbers, these rumored pay-per-view numbers of about 150,000 pay-per-view buys plus or minus, also with Golovkin's, performance or respect that he showed for Jacobs, or whatever, however you want to slice it up, but you feel there was a robbery or whatever. Of course, Golden Boy and all them are going to say, oh yeah, well, we feel he lost to Danny Jacobs, so we had to, lower the offer again. You got to think how these promoters think. So now, and then you factor in the age, But also on Canelo's end, even though it's just not a Canelo Chavez video, Canelo's got some shit to deal with on his own with Chavez. That's not an easy fight. So, a lot of things are at risk. So now, where does that leave Danny Jacobs? What does he do? Now, here's the situation. Golovkin is the WBC, the WBA, the only WBA champion, kind of. We're going to get to it. The IBF champion, and he wants to fight Billy Joe Saunders for the WBO in June. They're working on that fight. We're talking about Danny Jacobs. They'll follow me. So here is it. If put it this way, Golovkin versus Jacobs will be a very good fight on pay-per-view again. I would want to see it again. Us hardcores would want to see it again, especially the people who feel that Danny Jacobs won. They want to see it again. And would you pay for it? Would the pay-per-view do better than the first one? I think that it would. But what if they put it on free TV? What if they try to go that route? But that's just going too deep into the rabbit hole. Follow what I'm saying. You have Hassan N'Dam, who's the WBA interim champion. Now, damn, I should have had it pulled up already. I don't know why I didn't do it. Now, when you're the WBA interim champion or any interim champion, you know, you are basically the champion, and the only reason why interim belt was created because they had to fulfill the obligation, or it should be because they had to fulfill the obligation of why you didn't get your title shot in a certain amount of time. But anyway, politics involved in the WBA, and trust me, I read all these rules and I'm getting better and better at understanding all of them thoroughly. So it's like when a WBA championship is brought into play, usually it's because a fighter is injured. Usually. It's like, okay, well, we can't strip him because he hurt. But at the same time, we still got these other two guys, you know, that have been at these top two in rankings for so long. So we might as well have them fight for an interim until you get, you know, back. And then what we're going to do is have those two guys fight you, and then you kind of unify. So Hassan Ndam is the next WBA mandatory for Golovkin, but no telling when that fight will happen. So I feel that Danny Jacobs should try to go after Hassan Ndam. And also remember, Danny Jacobs' stock has risen a lot. You know, no matter how you slice it, people will say that HBO is, you know, not what it used to be, and HBO and pay-per-view is dying. But you know, it was kids' dreams. Those, especially those boxers from the 80s and the 90s, their dream was to fight on HBO Pay-Per-View. You can't get no bigger than HBO Pay-Per-View in either Vegas or either Madison Square Garden. So Danny Jacobs was on a superstar stage. You know, when has he ever fought an event that big? And also fought the way that he fought, to the point where he came out, even though he lost the fight, he came out the people's champion. So now his next fight has got to be a big fight, or a fight that's meaningful, because you can't fuck up his momentum. And also, damn, I forgot my train of thought. You know, also no more Spike TV for him. You know, so his fights, he's not, if they're smart, he should not be co-featuring anywhere. And his next fight should be Brooklyn, and it should be a fight that really, really means something. No fighters on the level of Caleb Truax's or nothing like that. Those days got to be done. You know, he just fought on pay-per-view. You see what I'm saying? So I look at it like this. Let's say, for example, if he fights Hassan Ndam, and if he beats Hassan Ndam, then he knows that sometime, and with the way things are set up, you know, sometime in 2018, mid to late 2018, definitely mid to late, closer to late 2018 or 2019, he can get his rematch with Golovkin. Because with Golovkin, if he beats Billy Joe Saunders, then guess what? After that, there's no more belts to get. So there's no more ways to get out of mandatories, because the only thing that trumps a mandatory is a unification. So if he beats Billy Joe Saunders, the same for him. If Billy Joe Saunders beats Golovkin, he will be the WBC, WBA, WBO, and IBF champion. So now you got to fulfill all those mandatories. Fighters like Jorge Sebastian Highland for the WBC, who's supposed to be a mandatory coming up. I believe Turiano Johnson is going to be the next in line, you know, as far as the IBF. And then you got Avantadil Kurtzidis, who's fighting for the WBO. And then there's another WBO mandatory after that. You see what I'm saying? So we don't know when Danny Jacobs may be able to get his other shot. And of course, his team and everybody know that. So I feel like, you know, just personal opinion, you know, it's like, well, what do? You know, you're not really ready for 168, but can your body handle 168? So I say maybe try to get Hassan Ndam, or test the waters, you know, or do both. Test the waters at 168 pounds, maybe a catch weight, then come back down, fight another 160, and then, you know, start lobbying for your or more so, put it this way, he needs to start working on his Golovkin rematch now. And the only way to do that is become the mandatory. But another good thing is, listen, now that he's not a champion anymore, he can be ranked by all the sanctioning bodies. So he can be ranked by the WBC, the WBO, and the IBF. And of course, he's going to be ranked high by the WBA because he was just champion. So they can order Danny Jacobs to fight any of those guys, you know, in any of those divisions. So you never know. They might try to fuck somebody like Jorge Sebastian Highland over and say, well, you got to fight Danny Jacobs, and the winner will get Golovkin. And since it's the WBC, you know, they kind of take precedence a little bit over the other sanctioning bodies, except for the IBF. The IBF don't really fuck around, but, you know, he'll be able to get his mandatory. So like I said, it's so many different ways you can look at it. And also another thing, that his name is now being mentioned with, you know, possibly fighting Canelo. You know, and that's the way you got to look at it. That's the way his career's got to be approached from now on, because he gained a lot of fans and a lot of supporters. You know, so you can't fuck up that momentum. You know, I'm sorry, no disrespect to Sergio Mora, but he can't be fighting fighters like Sergio Mora anymore. You see what I'm saying? You know, so now, and people say, you know, well, maybe he should fight Andy Lee or Peter Quillen. Truth be told, I think that those fights are, you know, not big enough for Danny Jacobs. Maybe I'm overthinking, you know, but I'm thinking even those fights are not big enough for him, you know. But only time will tell. I'm T-Street Controversy. This is T-Street Controversy Live. I cover every single major fight live where, like I said, we're easing back into things, pumping about 3 to 5 videos a day. Also, the website is active. It's going to get more active as time goes on. And, you know, a lot of things are in the works. But the good thing is we're getting focused. You know, we're living good. We're healthy. You know, and we're happy. Stressing, but we're happy. Please subscribe. All the links to my social media right down below in the description box. T-Street Controversy, T-Street Controversy Live.